I've been sick for a week. There's stupidity afoot. Let's get into this shit. All right, so I caught a soundbite on the news this morning, and honestly, I really don't give a shit about what they were talking about, but it amuses me. Apparently, Laura Loughlin from Full House, late 80s, early 90s sitcom on ABC Family, and some other anonymous bitch that I have no idea what she's from, but apparently she's somewhat popular, also from the late 80s. Apparently, they were bribing USC Berkeley to admissions staff and faculty to fast-track their kids into their dream universities. Number one, why the hell would you want to go to USC? That is one of the most expensive schools on the West Coast. And number two, why would you drop 500 grand or more on admissions to a university at all? That's just absolutely goddamn out of your mind. That's before you even get to the student loans. Well, they're rich people, so they're not going to have student loans, but that's even before you get to the cost of tuition and books and everything else. That is insane. So I don't care. This is something that's happened throughout American education for as long as we've had American education. Those wings and expansions and memorial halls that you see that are named after some extremely well-off donor? Yeah, they did that so that their kid would get better grades or admitted into the school. This is something that's happened for, 200 years? It's nothing new. I'm surprised that it's apparently illegal. I really don't give a shit. If they want to hemorrhage money to get their kids into a university that's going to make them dumber than when they started, let them burn their money. I don't give a shit. Most American universities aren't worth their degree programs. The rare exceptions are STEM programs that require or that give you access to highly specialized equipment and are effectively trade tracks. They teach you how to use a specific piece of equipment or hardware, and there is a right and wrong answer. But even then, you're still dealing with the bullshit social justice that crept in when I was in university. All that bullshit shenanigans and intersectionality, it's everywhere. It's even pervasive in the tech sector. It's just slightly less obvious. Yeah. What really amuses me is both of these washed-out has-been actresses were described as prominent stars from Hollywood. They're not prominent. They were kind of popular in the late 80s, and they haven't done anything in 30 years. Both of them no longer live in the country. That tells you how important they are to American pop culture. They don't even live in the country anymore, and nobody knows who the hell they are. But they're prominent stars from Hollywood, and their daughters are social media influencers. In other words, they're somewhat popular, rich, 18-year-old high school graduates that guys are literally drooling over on their Instagrams. But none of that actually means anything or generates money. They're influencers because their moms were kind of famous 30 years ago. Yeah, I'm highly amused. Apparently, one of them is facing up to 48 months, so 4 years. One of them is apparently facing up to 4 years in prison, and the other's apparently facing like a year and a half. And here's how you translate that from bitch to English. If they had been men, they would have been charged with double the time that they're possibly facing, according to the legal experts who are prognosticating on the possible outcome. So they would be looking at like 8 years and 2 to 5 years, respectively. But because they're women and they were somewhat popular in the 80s and they're kind of household names and they're not completely and totally creature-esque, they're going to, at worst, serve half the time the lawyers are suggesting as they're trying to basically do a Deadpool on what these moms are going to face on the other side of court. So the woman from Full House probably won't spend a day in jail, and the other woman might spend 6 months, is my prediction. They're going to get massive pussy passes, and I really don't give a shit. I don't think these are crimes that deserve jail time. They wanted to burn their money. They cheated the admissions process. The university isn't worth anybody's time and money anyway. Who gives a shit? They're out the money. They've already sunk the cost, and they have egg on their face. Move on.